Hello everybody and welcome back to another modelled writing video. Today we are going to look at two task 2 questions. So task 2 are the longer essay style questions. You have 40 minutes to answer these questions and you will be expected to write at least 250 words for this one. There's no upper limits, but that is the minimum for this. So if you have booked your IELTS exam and you want some practice, or if you simply want to find out more about task 2, then you can stick along today with this video and get more information about it. We'll be talking through the process and giving tips along the way to get those top band scores. Okay, so let's have a look at our first topic. And this is going to be all about crime. That's our topic today. So maybe you've come across this topic before in your practice, or maybe this is the first time. So we'll have a look at the question together. Some people think that the best way to reduce crime is to give longer prison sentences. Others, however, believe there are better alternative ways of reducing crime. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Really important part. This last sentence tells us how we need to answer the question. So we're going to discuss both sides and also they want our opinion as well. Okay, so what are the both sides? We have one side which thinks the best way to reduce crime is to give longer prison sentences. That's one view. Others, however, believe there are better alternative ways of reducing crime. So the other view doesn't go into detail, it's quite broad, so it's up to us to think of some detail for that one. So discuss both views and give your opinion. Okay then, so now it's time for the plan. Really important step in the task 2 is your plan. This is going to help you keep focused, keep on track, and really be confident with your answers. Okay, so paragraph 1 then. We want to talk about the first view here. Some people think the best way to reduce crime, we're going to talk about longer prison. And we're making sure our spelling is accurate, as that's one of the criteria for the top bands. Longer prison sentences. Okay, so this is where we can think of our structure. So we'll open it up with a topic sentence. What are we talking about in this paragraph? Then we'll go into an example, explanation, and then we'll link it back to the question. So example then, we could talk about life sentences that act as a deterrence or deter people from committing crime. For example, in the USA, we could talk about the life sentences. Some states still have the death penalty as well, which is not actually talked about here, so we might not mention that. But yes, this definitely prevents people to some extent from committing crime. Okay, so that's one side. Now we also have to give our opinion. So for this essay, I think I'm going to argue the other side is more effective. So we're going to then go into our next paragraph, which is about alternative ways. And we're going to focus on education and rehabilitation. And we're making sure our spelling is okay for that. Education and rehabilitation. For prisoners, for prisoners, this then has an impact on the re-offending rates. So they're able to have access to education and maybe skills, and they might learn a trade. So by the time that they leave prison, they can re-enter society and contribute to society. So they're less likely to offend again. And also, we could touch upon education in general before, not just for prisoners, but in general as well. Okay, so we're going to, in our conclusion, we're going to restate what we've been talking about. Long prison sentences to an extent deter people. However, alternative methods are more effective at reducing crime. So these are our notes. So they don't have to be full sentences here. We're just jotting down some ideas, and this will help you stay on track, like I said, for the write-up. And talking about the write-up, we're going to have a look at that now. Okay, so how shall we start this essay? We need an introduction. That's the first thing that we want to do. And the first part of your introduction is going to paraphrase and sort of restate these sentences here. Okay, so we can open up with a sort of broader context to show the examiner that you have an understanding of this topic. So reducing crime rates is a serious issue worldwide. Comma. And then we want to talk about how there's different strategies that are in place to tackle this. So we could say with various strategies in place to tackle it. Talking about the issue. So then we have some people think, we could say a portion of the population argue, think, say, that the best way to reduce crime is to give longer prison sentences. Argue that more time in jail, just paraphrasing here, is the best way, maybe is the key, or is the most effective way of decreasing crime. Now let's talk about the flip side. However, although any of these synonyms that you like. However, another section or other people believe, or we've used believe in the question, think there are more successful ways to combat crime in society. Okay, so that is paraphrasing the question here, what we're looking at. Reducing crime rates is a serious issue worldwide, with various strategies in place to tackle it. A portion of the population argue that more time in jail is the most effective way of decreasing crime. However, other people think there are more successful ways to combat crime in society. Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to go into what we are doing in this essay. This essay will discuss, talk about, contemplate both points of view. We need both, like the question says. And what are we going to ultimately argue? And argue that alternative methods are more beneficial in this situation. Something like that. Okay, paraphrased. We've laid out the essay that we're going to write. So let's now head into the first paragraph, which we are talking about. We're going to discuss this idea of longer prison sentences. It's not what we're arguing, but we need to discuss it nevertheless. So we can start with, on one hand of the debate, on one side, some people believe any of these phrases. Now we're just going to lay out what we are talking about. Some individuals and groups believe believe that longer prison sentences are crucial in deterring, which means preventing, criminals due to the fear that I like this word, conjures. With the E there, which means stirs up, it creates this fear in someone. So they're so scared of being in jail for a long time that they just don't commit the crime. That's the thinking behind this line of thought. Okay. Let's head into an example. So you can say, for example, the USA and many other countries. I just know that the USA, many countries hold life sentences. So you are jailed for life for serious crimes, such as murder. There we go. Okay, so we've got our examples here. Right, so this consequence, this life in prison, is what people are thinking will prevent individuals from committing the crime in the first place. So we could say something like these: consequences for crimes leads people to think that this will make sure members of society will think thoroughly, perhaps. We're making sure to spell that correctly. Think thoroughly about their actions before committing terrible acts. In theory, so this theory thinks that this will then lead to a reduction in crime. In theory, this reduces crime. Okay, so we've laid out one side of the arguments. Let's have a read, and we might add or edit. On one hand of the debate, some individuals and groups believe that longer prison sentences are crucial in deterring criminals due to the fear that it conjures. For example, The USA and many other countries hold life sentences for serious crimes, such as murder. These consequences for crimes leads people to think that this will ensure members of society will think thoroughly about their actions before committing terrible acts. In theory, this reduces crime. Okay, I think that's good. We've got an example there. We've laid out the one hand of the debate. So now let's dive into the other side, which is the one that we're going to argue today. So we could start with nevertheless. That's quite a good opener. Nevertheless, it cannot be ignored that alternative ways to reduce crime, it's okay that we're repeating here. Alternative ways to reduce crime, such as education and rehabilitation, is a more successful tactic in this scenario, situation, in this this case. Okay, so let's go into, let's start with education, because we want to touch upon the fact that well, it's not only education for prisoners, but in general as well. Education in general in society is key to, or is integral in supporting individuals and groups and creating opportunities for them. Okay, let's touch upon that. So we could say, for instance, this could lead to, or let's say, instead of committing crimes, people in society, or people have the option to learn trades and skills which allow for them to contribute to we don't want to use society again, so maybe let's take that away from here and we'll use it here. Contribute to society. Therefore, they are less likely to act out crimes. We've used commit crimes, carry out crimes, maybe. Carry out offences. Okay, so we've talked about education in general. So now we can lead it into the prison system itself, actually, and the reoffending rates. This is interlinked with education and rehabilitation within the prison system. If inmates, another word for prisoners, if inmates are given the chance to learn and upskill, maybe up their skills, they are in a better position when they re-enter their community. And now let's think about an example. So we could talk about, I know Norway and a lot of Scandinavian countries are more focused on this side instead of longer prison sentences. So yes, we could say something like, this is illustrated in the Norwegian prison, in Norwegian prisons, maybe, which is focused on which is focused on providing opportunities to grow within the providing opportunities to grow or to learn something, maybe to educate, providing opportunities to educate whilst serving a sentence. Okay, let's link it back to the question now. This has led to Norway having some of the lowest re-offending rates globally. And let's link it back to how it reduces crime. We don't want to repeat ourselves. This has led to Norway having some of the lowest re-offending rates globally. And we've used therefore, in turn, reducing crime as a whole. Okay, let's read this back then. Nevertheless, it cannot be ignored that alternative ways to reduce crime, such as education and rehabilitation, is a more successful tactic in this scenario. Education, in general, is integral in supporting individuals and groups and creating opportunities for them. Instead of committing crimes, people have the option to learn trades and skills which allow for them to contribute to society. Therefore, they are less likely to carry out offences. This is interlinked with education and rehabilitation within the prison system. If inmates are given the chance to learn and upskill, they are in a better position when they re-enter their community. This is illustrated in the Norwegian prisons. Maybe in Norwegian prisons, which are focused on providing opportunities to educate whilst serving a sentence. Opportunities to educate maybe oneself while serving a sentence, which means yourself. This has led to Norway having some of the lowest reoffending rates globally and in turn reducing crime as a whole. Okay, I think that's good. We've got our example, we've got our explanations, we're linking back to the question. That's the most important thing. We're making sure our spelling is okay. We're giving a variety of sentence structures here. Okay, conclusion time. We want to restate what we've been talking about. So we don't want to deny the fact that longer prison sentences play a role in reducing crime. So it is clear that longer prison sentences do instill fear and to some extent prevent criminals from committing criminal acts, maybe. Or committing, 2 T's. Even so, nevertheless, however, it is apparent that education And opportunities, rehabilitation opportunities for or provide prisoners, we can say, with more chances of of re of contributing to their communities and are less likely to reoffend. Reoffend, which reduces crime. Okay then, so here we have it, our first essay of the video. Let's check how many words this comes to. Okay, so this is about 332 words. So that is a little bit over the minimum here, but you can see how we've structured it. So hopefully, if you're following along at home, you can maybe think of your own examples and things like this. But you can see how we've approached this essay, which is the main thing. Okay, brilliant. Well, I think it's time to go to our next question. Okay, we're sticking with this theme, with this topic, but slightly different this time as we are looking into youth crime. So, a different spin on it, really. Okay, so let's have a look at the question. Levels of youth crime are increasing rapidly in most cities around the world. What are the reasons for this? And suggest some solutions. Okay. So we have a problem or cause, reasons why something is happening, and a solution question, problem solution. You might see differences in words like reasons and solutions or something like this, but we'll follow this structure nevertheless. Okay, so problem solution structure. It's going to be a little bit different from how we normally structure the other essays. So we'll start with our topic or cause, reason, problem. Then we'll have a support, which is a bit of an explanation, maybe an example. Then we'll have a solution sentence, so a way in which we can tackle the problem, and the result, an outcome, what might happen because of this. Now, this is what, how many sentences? 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. Imagine if you had 2 problems per paragraph. That's 8 sentences. That's 16 sentences. Oh, that's too much. That's too much to write in the time. So our tactic, our approach is going to be an almost pick and mix type style. So you might have a topic, then you might have a support and a result. You might have a topic and 2 solutions. You might have a topic, support, and a result. So you can really mix and match, if you like, with this. It's not set in stone. So not to worry too much about fitting it all in because it's quite impossible, really. So we'll show you how this can be done for this question, and then you can apply that to other questions as well and see how you go. Okay, so let's think about the question again then, and we'll do our plan as always, very important. Levels of youth crime are increasing rapidly in most cities around the world. Okay, what are some reasons for this? And what are some solutions? Okay, so let's think of a reason first. Let's think about youth crime. So perhaps parents aren't as home so much because we're talking about cities. So more likely to be working in the cities to afford to live there. So parents are at work. That's the problem. So therefore, children are left unsupervised, and perhaps there's this lack of emotional support and guidance, lack of family influence. So simply, crime is perhaps easier to commit than it was before, when all the family might have been around. Um, Okay, so we'll elaborate on this. Parents are at work. Perhaps another problem or issue could be the fact that retirement age has increased. Therefore, grandparent type figures would have in the past perhaps been retired, and then with the increase now, they're having to go stay at work. So there's been a shift into um, less involvement with the family. So two problems there, and two supports to explain that a little bit. Okay, solution then. So instead of children being home, perhaps with no family, as childcare is very expensive, and a solution could be low cost or free after school activities like homework club, or the school could be more involved with children's lives and host things after school hours. Perhaps that could help with the youth crime rates. Okay, so then another cause of youth crime. Perhaps we could talk about the wealth gap is getting bigger, so the gap between rich and poor. This then builds resentment in the youth of today, and maybe petty crimes like stealing, smaller level crime is more appealing than it was before, because especially in the cities, this gap is increasing. Okay, so a possible solution to this wealth gap is getting bigger, which is enticing younger people to commit crimes. Perhaps we can link it back to the education system again, and talk about the fact that maybe traditions and morals should be in the syllabus, perhaps. In the syllabus. And perhaps we could mention another solution to this, and that could be more financial support for families, depending on the more children you have, it shouldn't mean that you have to work more. You should be able to spend time with children, which will reduce, in theory, the youth crime. Okay, so in conclusion then, we just want to restate many reasons for crime, and various possible solutions, and we'll do a few examples from the essay. Okay, well, I think we're ready to go to the write-up then, and you'll have your notes in the write-up as always, so you can refer to those throughout. That will help us stay on track. Right, so first thing we need to do, we need to paraphrase, you guessed it. So let's have a look at the sentences here. So levels of youth crime are increasing rapidly in most cities around the world. We could say something like, it is apparent that in many places, instead of cities. Youth crime, it's tricky to paraphrase youth crime, it's okay to repeat here. Or crime committed, two T's, committed by the younger generation, perhaps. That's a slight paraphrase there. Are increasing rapidly. Crime committed by the younger generation is on the rise quite dramatically. Okay, so let's talk about what this essay will do then. This essay will discuss some reasons for this, and suggest various possible solutions. Okay, quite short, but that's okay. We want to focus on the body of the essay, so let's read this back. It is apparent that in many places, crime committed by the younger generation is on the rise quite dramatically. This essay will discuss some reasons for this and suggest various possible solutions. Lovely. So the first reason is this idea of people in cities having to work more, also the retirement age creeping up. So the family that used to maybe be around quite a lot is now at work to keep up with this rise in costs. So one of the main reasons youth crime is on the rise is due to many family members having to work. And we're making sure our spelling's okay throughout. Many family members having to, before perhaps one parent would stay at home, but now they might have to go and find work, having to find work, work longer hours. So perhaps before they were working and now they might have to, I don't know, get a second job or something. Let's say, or work longer hours in order to keep up with inflation and cost of living, in order to maintain their lifestyle within the current cost of living crisis, maybe. Okay, so that's one reason. Let's talk about retirement age as well. So additionally, retirement age is rising in many places, or many globally, maybe. Retirement age is rising globally. So older members of the family unit who in the past may have been able to contribute to childcare now are possibly at work also. Okay, so we're stating a few issues here. They are, the family is required to work. So what happens? The children are left unsupervised with we can say, lack of emotional support and guidance. Emotional support and guidance. Spelling. And guidance. So what happens then with less family influence? With less family influence, crime is just easier to commit. So crime is easier for children to commit. There we go. Okay, let's talk about solutions now. We've got one that we have in our plan. One of the many possible solutions. Solutions could be tied to the education system. Could be tied to the education system, which could offer more low cost or even free of charge after school or out of school activities. Such as homework club. So the school are taking more responsibility for the children. In this case, the school would take more responsibility for the, we've used children, young people, and crime would just be more difficult to carry out. More difficult to enact. Another word for carry out. Okay, let's read this back then. Oh, that's with an E. One of the main reasons youth crime is on the rise is due to many family members having to find work or work longer hours in order to maintain their lifestyle within the current cost of living crisis. Additionally, another problem. Retirement age is rising globally. Older members of the family unit who in the past may have been able to contribute to childcare now are possibly at work also. The children are left unsupervised, with a lack of emotional support and guidance. With less family influence, crime is easier for children to commit. One of the many possible solutions could be tied to the education system, which could offer more low cost or even free of charge after school activities such as homework club. In this case, the school would take more responsibility for the young people and crime would be more difficult to enact. Okay, so we've got two reasons. We've got explanations for those reasons. Then we've got a solution and a result here. I think that's great. Brilliant. Okay, let's go to our second paragraph, which won't be as long, this one. So we've used additional. A further cause is, and we're making sure that we're spelling properly. A further cause of youth crime is the fact that the wealth gap is getting wider, building resentment, in society, and petty crime. That's a good phrase. Petty crime, like stealing, is much more appealing than before. Okay, so we're talking about this widening of the gap. Petty crime is now taking place. So that's our cause. Now let's go into we had two solutions for this one: traditions and morals and financial support. So a way to tackle this could be offered by the schooling system. system, maybe yet again, with traditions, morals, and values being integrated into the syllabus. So we want to talk about how this would create a sort of moral compass within the students and an environment where they are just less likely to commit crime. This would create more of a moral compass for the students and lead to crime being more unlikely to be committed. Duties. Okay, so that's one possible solution. And then let's just touch upon the benefits and financial support for families. Developing this further, more financial support could also be offered to families with children. That way they could spend more time with them and nurture and guide them. Creating an environment in which crime is, we've used less likely, we've used have we used less likely? Unlikely, maybe less prevalent, less, it happens less. Okay, let's read this back. A further cause of youth crime is the fact that the wealth gap is getting wider, building resentment in society, and petty crime like stealing is much more appealing than before. A way to tackle this could be offered by the schooling system yet again, with traditions, morals, and values being integrated into the syllabus. This would create more of a moral compass for the students and lead to crime being, we've used more. So editing is really important, rereading, being unlikely to be committed. Lead to crime, lead to, let's have a look at this. This would create more of a moral compass for the students. We could say, which are then less likely to break the law, say. Developing this further, more financial support could also be offered to families with children. That way they could spend more time with them and nurture, and guide them, creating an environment in which crime is less prevalent. Okay, so let's tie this all together then. We could say, on the whole, in summary, actually, let's use in summary. In summary, there are many reasons or many causes that contribute to the rise of youth crime around the world, such as, and we'll pick examples from the essay, lack of parental guidance, perhaps. Although there are I like this word, plethora of possible, which means many possible solutions, such as, let's have a think, after school activities, or maybe let's do one from the second paragraph, such as more financial support for families. Okay, so that just ties everything together and finishes off the essay nicely. Let's see how many words we're working with here. So we have a grand total of 324 words for this essay. So it is quite a bit over the minimum, but this provides you with a structure that you can work with for a problem solution essay. You can pick, you can choose, you can slice, you can chop the different parts that we were talking about, the topics, sentence and the supports, the solution and the outcome, the result. So this is a great way to approach this type of question. And I hope that it's been okay to follow along at home, and maybe you are thinking of your own examples there. That's great. Well, like always, let us know if you have any questions, and great to have you along today. We'll see you next time.